your move, your move.
What's up guys, it's Rota here and welcome to yet another amazing deck profile on the channel. For today I got you a brand new updated rescue based deck that I've been working on for the past month, and I'm very excited to show you. In testing, it's proved to be very strong, and I have a lot of explanations in this video. So if you are new to this channel or have seen my videos before, make sure you do leave a like and subscribe down below. I promise you it is free. Road to 2K. Once we hit 2K subscribers, which is my yearly goal, we're getting close to the end of the year, guys, so let's pick up the pace. Let's do a massive giveaway, and I'll be celebrating that. Once we get closer to 2K, I will let you know, but make sure you are here for it. The last giveaway at 1K wasn't that long ago, actually, and I think it was around a 200 and 250 pounds of prizing. So make sure you're here for 2K. It will be bigger, it will be better, and there may be chances that you can win. But without any further ado, let's get straight into this deck profile. So starting off with this amazing deck profile here, we of course are going to be playing triple of the Rescue Ace Hydrant. Probably the best card in the deck just because of its name and because of its 3 effects. It has 3 really good effects. What it's going to do is, if you control another Rescue Ace, it cannot be targeted for attacks or by battle, which means that, you know, it's going to have some sort of protection during your opponent's turn, which means they can't just run over it and then switch off the bonus effects of your spells and traps, which is nice. It's going to be, its main effect is once per turn during your turn, you're going to be able to add a Rescue Ace monster from your deck to your hand, which is brilliant. And it also has another effect that once per turn, you can activate a set Rescue Ace spell or trap the turn it was set, provided that it was set by a Rescue Ace. So Turbulence set for emergency banish, reinforced banish to reset from the grave. You can activate them the same turn that they're set. And this card's just absolutely insane. Level 1 as well gives you access to Anima plays. So if the opponent doesn't respect the zones, you make an Anima. I like playing Anima as well because it changes it from fire to dark, and then I can go into dark plays, dark as in the Link Charmer. So I just think Rescue Ace Hydrant is mandatory 3 of, and I don't see in a world where you play less. For another 3 of, triple Rescue Ace Impulse. This is your hand trap for the deck. Usually, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you're going to tribute it from the field or your hand, hence why I called it the hand trap, and you're going to special summon a Rescue Ace machine from your deck. Now this can be your fire engine, which is what it is most of the time. You can also special summon your Turbulence, your Preventer, or your Hydrant itself. And it also has a really cool effect that once per turn during the main phase, you're going to choose one effect monster your opponent controls with the highest attack. Doesn't target, so that's important. And then those effects can't be activated for the turn. This is crucial. It gets around monsters that aren't affected because it's the player that's going to be applying the effects. So since it says that player cannot activate the effect, it's not actually affecting the monster, it's affecting the player, meaning unaffected monsters are free game for this card, usually ex-Pearly Noirs. And then if they use the effect to banish it, you're just going to simply chain it away since that's a monster effect on the field, and you're going to special summon something else from the deck. So Impulse is insane against those types of things, and just really nice card. I like having 3. It just gets you to your engine. If you lose the dice roll but you open Impulse, you're still playing during your opponent's turn, and that's going to be setting you up for your actual first turn. So that's why I really like Impulse. We have triple Rescue Ace Airlifter. This card's a 1-card combo. On normal summon, he's going to, or special, he adds you a Rescue Ace spell from your deck. And he also has the effect that when your opponent monster activates an effect on the field, you can tribute him from the field or hand and special summon a Rescue Ace monster from your hand. So not as good as Impulse and the tribute effect, but can come up, especially if you already have another body and you have Preventer in your hand. You can special Preventer and get that Book of Moon effect live. But the main reason you play 3 is because you usually going to normal summon him, add emergency summon Hydrant effect, grab you Turbulence summon, and that's with the 1 card you have your set for. So that is why I think Airlifter is absolutely insane, and a 3 of in my opinion. 2 Turbulence. I really love Turbulence. This is basically the main win conditions for the deck. If you don't know what he does, he special summons himself by banishing 2 Rescue Ace cards from your graveyard. And if you think that is a decent effect, wait till you hear this one. During the main phase, you're going to set up to 4 Rescue Ace spells or traps from your deck to the graveyard. And from the deck to the field, I apologize. That, if you don't see the potential in that, that is insane. 4, you basically go +4 with Turbulence. You set 4 cards from your deck to the field. You don't even add them to hand. It can't even be ashed. It's that good. And if that wasn't, enough, it also has the effect that if a card you control another card, not himself, leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, it's going to target one card in the field and destroy it, which your opponents don't really know that that's an effect. So this card is amazing. I don't play 3 because it's highly searchable, and I think 2 is perfectly fine. 1, you can play 1. It's a bit risky. You can always bring it back with a Preventer. I just like having the 2. Speaking of Rescue Ace Preventer, double Rescue Ace Preventer. It's insane how much a new monster can help a deck. I didn't think Rescue Ace were going to be... I knew they had serious potential when I first got them, and that's what I said in the deck profile at the time. But I didn't think that with one monster, they were actually going to become this insane. So if you don't know what Rescue Ace Preventer does, he is another just crucial part of your engine. He is like Turbulence, except you banish one card from the graveyard instead to summon him. If you control any other Rescue Ace, quick effect, he Book of Moon something on the field. One effect monster your opponent controls, change it to face down defense position. A Book of Moon every single turn, your opponent's turn, is crazy. And if that wasn't good enough, when it goes to the graveyard, sent to the graveyard, not even from the field, it can be sent from the hand if you want. It's going to target one of your banished Rescue Ace monsters, which is usually what you use to summon this thing. And it's going to special it back to the field. Now, this card basically unlocks the whole Proxy F Magician line and the whole combo line if you play the Terahertz version. It's just insane how good of a card this is. It's sad that it's a common. I really hope it gets a super in the OTS. I really do, along with Emergency. So that means there will be no common Rescue Ace cards that you play, all rare or above, which would be really nice. But that's just me speaking. But Preventer is insane. I'm so glad we got this card. It's so good. And for the last Rescue Ace, the one Rescue Ace Fire Engine. You may be thinking, why don't you play the other machine? I forget his name right now. The helicopter that draws you cards. In my opinion, I do like him. I don't think he's needed. I've tried cutting the engine down to the bare bones so I can fit as many other non-engine cards in the deck as possible. Fire Engine, I think you need to play at least 1. I think 1 is the minimum. You can play 2. 1 is perfect for me. You special it out the deck, and when your opponent special summons a monster to your field, he's going to special summon a monster too. He's going to keep getting bodies onto the field, allowing you to continue pushing, link summoning, etc. Also, if you already have him in your hand, you may not have him in the deck, you may draw the one off, he summons himself anyway. If a Rescue Ace monster is normal or special to your field, he comes out, so it's perfect. You can play the helicopter, I forgot its name. It's the same summoning requirements as Fire Engine, it's going to summon itself, and when your opponent adds a card from the deck to hand, you're going to draw 2 and discard 1. I just prefer playing the one Fire Engine, and as I said, I don't want to be drawing too many high-level monsters. There have been games where you draw the Preventer, Turbulence, and Fire Engine, like, bruh, what do you expect me to do with this with no normal summon? But, you know, those hands are very few and far between, and I like to think it's because I have the minimum amount, I guess, possible of high-level monsters, because I just want to be playing. As long as I get to set 4, I'm in the game, sort of thing. Moving on to the spells. The best piece of support I've seen in a long time. And I don't say that lightly. Emergency, not only is it always a Rescue Ace card, which of course all the spells that don't have Rescue Ace in the name are, and all the traps do. It's an E-Telly. But not only is it an E-Telly, it's an E-Telly with a cost, and you may think that's bad, but it's actually good. You're going to normal your Hydrant, and if you have Emergency in your hand, you're not going to fear Imperm. You're not going to fear Veiler, that type of thing. Why? Because you're going to normal summon Hydrant and use the effect. Let's say they chain Imperm or Veiler. You chain Emergency, special something on the deck, send your Hydrant from the field, it can be hand to, from the field to the graveyard, and then dodge the effect. Because Imperm and Veiler needs to be on the field. And that is why I think Emergency is great. The main use of Emergency is once you do your normal combo, you're going to Emergency, summon Preventer from the deck, send Preventer to the graveyard, because that's going to be the monster that you tribute, and it's going to trigger Preventer's effect to special summon back a banished monster. Usually Hydrant to gain those bonus effects in your spells and traps. So that is why I think Emergency is a 3-off. And not only that, it has another effect. You can banish it from the graveyard and target a trap, set it to your field. So it's insane, especially if you have a Hydrant on the field, because you're going to be able to immediately activate that trap and gain advantage. So it's just ridiculous. The Emergency and Preventer, they've literally released 2 cards. That 3 was reinforced, which we play in the side. but 2 cards that we play in the main deck since the deck came out. And it's literally taken it from Rogue to potentially a meta threat. That's how good these cards are. And once you play Rescue Ace, you'll understand. For the other spells, 1 Alert. Alert's good. You only need to play 1 of the other ones. Just spoiling it now. Because they're all settable from the deck. So you only need to play 1. Alert is really nice. If you have Hydrant on the field, you normal Hydrant, use its effect. And if they stop it, you have Alert. And Alert's basically essentially another Hydrant. And it's another Rota. Also, what's nice is if you do Hydrant and then they change role, you chain Alert and you add. And then you don't need to add anymore because that means you'll have Prevent and Turbulence in your hand. And you can do the full combo. So, I really like Alert. It has its uses. In my opinion, it's not as good as Rescue. Rescue is your Monster Reborn. But if you control Hydrant, it's a Monster Reborn from your opponent's graveyard too. So this is insane for stealing high link rating link monsters from the graveyard. If you play against Telements and they try fusion, you just rescue it and summon it to your field and the fusion can't resolve. This has so many amazing applications that you don't realize it until you just play the deck. And for the last spell, which I see a lot of people not playing, I think those people are crazy. 1 Rescue Ace HQ. This is the only Rescue Ace card that we can't set because it's not a quick play spell or trap. It's not a quick play spell or trap. It's a field spell. And why do we play 1? Not only does it give you an additional normal summon, not only does it boost your attack by 500, which is pretty nice because your Turbulence is 3k, meaning you can beat over with other 3k beaters because it's 3/5. You're going to target 4 of your banished or engrave Rescue Ace cards. You're going to shuffle them into the deck and you're going to draw 1. A Pot of Avarice, that's pretty nice. But once you realize that Turbulence is then going to be able to set those 4 cards back to your field, you're going to be infinite resources essentially. And as long as they don't out the Rescue Ace HQ, that's exactly what it is. This guarantees you the grind game. This card is beautiful. If they out it, you have Reinforce in the side. I'm playing it in the side, some people play it in the main, because Reinforce actually gives you the ability to reset your field spell in case they out it. But in most cases, I feel like the game is won, usually, before the grind game. If you need to go in the grind game, this card guarantees you that. But I feel like, usually, the game's decided pretty much you know if you've won or lost before you get to the Rescue Ace HQ. Hence why I'm playing 1. For the traps, 1 Contain. Insane. It's an impermanence. And also a no material. If you control Hydrant. And not only that, their monster can't attack. So if you only have Hydrant, they can't attack your Hydrant, meaning your Hydrant will survive and you'll get another search during your turn. So really, really nice. And it's always a Rescue Ace card. Same with Extinguish. Extinguish is nice as well. It's essentially a pop. Not only is it a pop if you control Hydrant, it's also a Call by the Grave, which is really useful against stuff like Pearly. What you're going to do is if they normal summon a Pearly or a Pearlily or whatever, usually a Pearly, they're going to summon it, they're going to use this effect, they're going to reveal 3, and they're going to hopefully miss. Then you're going to extinguish the Pearly. You're going to pop it. Any other Pearlies they summon that turn won't have their effects. So that is really, really nice. And that is why I think Extinguish is good. Extinguish is just good in general because it's a pop. And you have an Imperm pop, you have a Monster Reborn, and you have an E-Telly. All through 1 card, which is why I think Rescue Ace are just insane. So that is the Rescue Ace engine. As I said, I tried minimizing it. It's still a decent amount of cards. You have a lot of flex spots, which is what you're going to see now. Triple Ghost Ogre. Not Ghost Ogre, sorry. Triple Ghost Bell. Why Ghost Bell? Because back row's a problem, and Labyrinth is probably the best back row deck at the moment. And if it's not that, I mean, I don't know if you're going to see Eldritch, but Ghost Bell works great against Eldritch too. And it works against stuff like Nadir's Servant and other random applications like Branded in Red, stuff like Lubellion, things like that. So that is why I'm playing the triple Ghost Spell. You can play triple DD Crow. I've been testing between both. They're both really good. Triple Ash. Ash is amazing in the branded matchup. Always Ash branded fusion. You have amazing against the Unchained matchup, which is coming up, because they all special from the deck. Usually the monsters do anyway, apart from the new ones that set. Not only that, it's a fire. And that means, since we're a fire deck, and it's a fire monster, it gives us access to a certain Salmon Great, which lets us loop fire monsters from the graveyard to our hand. Meaning we have, as soon as we see 1 Ash, we see infinite Ash, because we can just constantly recycle it back to our hand. We also have Triple Droll. Droll is a automatic win against Dark Worlds. It's very good against Mannadiums. It's very good against a lot of decks right now. And Triple Droll, I think, is essential. If you're not putting the Droll, I have the Shifters in the side. You can put the Drolls in the side, move the Shifters to the main, if that's what you feel like doing. Shifter doesn't hurt you. Remember, the field spell does from Banish Pile too. So it literally doesn't hurt you, only stops Preventer. Preventer's a great card, but Shifter is very powerful too. So I have Droll, but you can put Shifter in. And finally, we have the Triple Imperm. Imperm, I've been testing. It can be Nib, it can be Veiler. It's all preference, these hand traps, remember that. But I feel like 12 is a very good amount, especially if you count Impulse as a hand trap. That means you have 15. I think 15 is a perfect number right now, especially to stop these combo decks that are going around. And that means that you're going to be usually opening, well, a good chance to open 2. And that's usually enough to weaken the board enough where you can break it with Rescue Ace. So that is why I'm playing those. For the spells, double Prosp. Don't need 3. I found that 3 is a bit cloggy. I usually open 2 and then it's a dead card. Also, the HQ draws you a card. If you do that, you cannot Prosp. Or if you Prosp, you cannot draw. So that is why I'm playing 2 Prosperity. 1 Instant Fusion. I don't see anyone playing this card. And the question I ask you is why? You are already playing the Proxy F Magician package to make Mudragon. You can literally save yourself 3 monster materials by opening Instant Fusion. And those can be used to climb into an Appaloosa or whatever. So Instant Fusion, I think, Instant Fusion, Mudragon Call Fire, protect your Turbulence from Effect Veiler and Imperms, and guarantee the set 4. That's why I'm playing it. 1 Rota, as I mentioned, or as you've probably seen, Airlifter is a warrior. Meaning Rota equals Airlifter, which equals 1 card combo. Do I need to say more? 1 Call by the Grave. Just protect you from hand traps. Can be a bit vulnerable to 2 or 3 hand traps, so we play the Call by. And the 1 Triple Tactic. Again, punishes your opponent for playing the game. So I feel like that's good. Also lets you select Caesars and make Zeus, which we do play in our extra deck. So that is the main deck. That is 40 cards. And we will now be going to the extra deck. Moving on to the extra deck. As I probably said in the intro, I don't play the Terahertz package. Not that I don't like it. In testing, I preferred this one. But let's get on to the cards I'm playing and why. 1 Link 5 Underworld Goddess. You make this and your opponent never expects it. Rescue Ace has the ability to get so many bodies on the board. It's crazy. And then you Link 5 them, and that gets rid of unaffected monsters without having to see your Impulse. That is why I play the Link 5. We have 1 Access Code Talker. This card guarantees OTKs, especially they're going to have Fire and Dark Links in the graveyard, meaning you're going to be popping 2. We have the 1 Appaloosa. This you can, if you open a good hand, you're going to be setting 4 and making Appaloosa, and then having at least 3 negates on it. So I think Appaloosa is great. 1 Topologic Trisbane. I see people playing Salamangreat Heatleo to spin a back row. Why spin a back row when you can just banish all of them? And you can always pretty much trigger Trisbane whenever you want, especially if you set the rescue. You're going to use all your back row, especially in the back row matchups against Labyrinth. And then you're going to use rescue, summon to zone, banish all of their trap cards. That is why I like Trisbane though. We have the 1 Nightmare Unicorn. Again, we have IP in here. IP was the original best board, IP Turbulence. And we still play that in case we only open the old cards, or we open a hand where we can only do Turbulence with an IP. We have the Nightmare Unicorn as well to spin a card. 1 beautiful Salamangreat, Wolf. This is going to let you, we just make it because it's a fire, and it lets us get Ash back from the grave. It doesn't have to be Ash. If we don't open Ash, we can grab back Rescue Ace cards. It's just a great card. And it has Ghost right now, and I needed to play it. 1 IP Masquerena, as I said, goes with Nightmare Unicorn, goes into Appaloosa. Especially if you steal your opponent's monsters with Rescue, you can literally go IP and link 2 into a free Appaloosa. You don't even need to use any other monsters apart from the IP. We have the 1 Nightmare Phoenix. In testing, wasn't playing it, regretted it. Nightmare Phoenix is amazing. Not only is it a fire, it discards a card. You may think that's bad, but if you have Emergency in your hand, or you have a trap in your hand, because you open them usually, sometimes it's a bit painful, discard the trap. This is usually for going second. Blow up a back row, draw a card if it's co-linked. Use Emergency, summon Hydrant,
emergency, banish, set the trap, immediately use the trap. So, because the traps need to be set by a Rescue Ace effect. You can't simply set them in Hydra and let you use them. So that is why I think Nightmare Phoenix has increased utility as well as the Unicorn. We have one Dark, the Dark Charmer. You may be thinking, how are we going to get into Darks? I already explained we have Anima. Anima is our way into the Darks. It lets us bridge there with the one Hydrant. And, you know, everyone's playing Darks these days. And then you can take them and push for high, you know, link plays. One Heater, we play a fire deck, and Ash, take it, and it's great. One Proxy F Magician. This is going to let us make our Muddy Mud Dragon, because it's a fire, and it's a Cyberse, meaning a fire and a Machine or Warrior is going to make our Mud Dragon, and then we're going to be protected for the Turbulence. One Relinquished Anima. No one expects this card. You get, you know, good players will respect the zones, but if they don't respect the zones, you get a free interruption of Hydrant and a Dark. One Salamangreat Almirage. Again, you can turn a Hydrant into an Almirage and just Preventer effects, banish Hydrant, summon your Preventer, Almirage and Preventer make Proxy F. Preventer bring back Hydrant and then go to your Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon, as I said, this card is goated in this deck, protects you from targeting on your Turbulence, which is the whole point of guaranteeing the +4. And we play the one Zeus because we play Tactics, and if we steal an Xyz, we're going to want to be able to steal it, attack with it, and then use it for a Zeus. And that's the extra.
It's time! Let's go!